welcome back to Yours, Mine, Away. I am joined today by my fellow teammate, Callum Burton.
Lined up a goal kick, and the minute I've hit the ball, I've just felt my quad. It felt like I'd been shot in the hip. I sat down with the physio and obviously you before this and just said I felt probably the best I'd felt going into a game. And it just, that one time perfect storm happened where tendon just completely snapped. I've been at clubs where the twos have been a nightmare, especially when I was growing up. And I was a 3 and I used to look up at them and I'd think, what are you doing, mate? But the idea of kicking a ball right now makes me feel sick. When you physically can't move and you can't even balance, you actually can't do anything.
You're actually more of a hindrance.
Yeah.
Literally the moment you took the goal kick, everyone went, chomp, that's not right. And then you tried to limp it off, didn't you? I was like, shin pads are in. I was like, I think I'm going to come on here. This don't look great.
What a save from Mark Howard.
What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to Yours, Mine, Away. Obviously, we're not in the studio, as you can see today. We're out on location. Actually, the studio is getting done up, so we won't be in the studio for a little while. It's getting refurbished. I can't wait to see what happens there. I need to say a huge shout out to Hotel Wrexham for hosting us. Peter, thanks for looking after us. I am joined today by my fellow teammate. I'm gutted for him as well. My fellow goalkeeper, Callum Burton. How are you, mate?
Yeah. No, I'm good.
Been better.
Yeah, I've been better, but enjoying time at home with the family, and it's come around at a good time for Christmas with the little man. So it's not where I want to be, but it's good to have that time as well.
Yeah, as I say, it's never nice getting injured. You moved house the week before you did.
Yeah.
And obviously you've got the wee man. It's nearly Christmas. Yeah. It's not the worst, is it?
It's not the worst. No, I'm glad we got in the house because that would have been a real effort on crutches. But no, it's always nice to. I haven't had a Christmas off for I think 12 years now, so it'll be nice to have that time and also be close back home to family, which as well I haven't been for a lot of years.
Yeah, you've been moved away quite a lot,
all over the place. Yeah,
we'll get around to all that. Obviously, like I said, you are currently injured. Do you want to talk through your injury? What happened?
Can do, yeah.
Right. So obviously, prepping for a game as per normal. You'd played the last 2 games before that. Started the 3rd game. Did really well for the 2 games before, taking Arthur's place. What is it, about 10, 12 minutes in?
15 minutes
15
in,
minutes in.
15 minutes in, yeah. I've already done a few kicks and then just lined up a goal kick, and the minute I've hit the ball, I've just felt my quad. It felt like I'd been shot in the hip.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. The pain went away instantly, so I kind of hobbled around for a minute, and then they whipped another cross in the box, come and punched it, and I tried to take off with my right foot, but I just had no power at all. And then I looked over to you and was like, come on in.
Literally the moment you took the goal kick, everyone went, chomp, that's not right. And then you tried to limp it off, didn't you? I was like,
yeah.
And so I literally just trousers off. I was like, shin pads are in. I was like, I think I'm going to come on here. This don't look great. And then obviously you've punched across. I was like, oh, you've done well there. And then you just couldn't get up, could you? Yeah,
no, it's, I kind of, when I spoke to the physio after, because of what the injury was, basically I wouldn't have any feeling in the quad.
Because you've total rupture.
Yeah. So with a total rupture, the kind of sensation goes straight away. So I kind of got up, hobbled around a bit for a minute. They had a free kick, put the ball in the box, I've come and punched. But then the minute I tried to push off with it just went straight away, and I couldn't get up. As you said, I was rolling around.
Horrible feeling. Yeah, even I've ruptured my rep fin before, and it's not a nice injury for a goalie. It's just one of those things. But you've never had anything before that. We was just saying this off air, but you've warmed up unbelievably. You've been kicking it fine for the weeks before it, and it's just a freak injury. You can't do anything.
Yeah, that's what kind of, if it was on a Saturday, Tuesday where you could say, oh, it's still tight from the Saturday, or you'd had a tough week of training, you could kind of understand it. But I sat down with the physio and obviously you before this and just said I felt probably the best I'd felt going into a game. And it just, that one time perfect storm happened where tendon just completely snapped.
Yeah, it must just be the load that you put through it.
It must be, yeah.
It's obviously, I don't think people realise that passing the ball, kicking the ball, crossing the ball, even shooting, you don't put as much force into the ball as a goal kick is.
Yeah.
Because we're literally trying to kick the ball as far as we physically can.
As high as you can.
As high as you can and accurate. You're literally trying to do the most you can to that football at that one period, didn't you?
Yeah, no, that's what the specialist said to me. He said, look, for a regular player, you're probably looking at 12 weeks, but because of the mechanics of what your job is, which is just maximal effort, probably 40 times in a game, plus the warm-up kicks. It's going to be another kind of month and a half getting that kind of rec fem used to doing it again. So I'd rather do that, because you'd rather it be completely right. But like the idea of kicking a ball right now makes me feel sick.
I bet you squint.
Oh.
So obviously you've had your surgery.
Yeah.
How did that all go?
Yeah, it went well. Went down to London. Lucky enough, had the choice of two of the best surgeons that I could have. So I knew I was in good hands, and yeah, it went as well as it could do. I've got another follow-up tomorrow with them to get the bandage off and have a look. But it's surprisingly feeling good to walk around on, but then you kind of get a bit too giddy and you get reminded that it wasn't attached a week ago when you try roll over in bed usually. So
they reckon you could be 12 weeks, possibly 16 weeks.
Yeah, so they said 12 weeks because, like you said, an outfielder is not doing the maximal effort. They may be doing diags with 75% effort. They could get back in 12 weeks, but because of our pure long ball every 3-4 minutes, he said you're better off taking the extra
100%
time in to make sure you're right than
it's the unexpected back pass or the bouncing one that you come out. It's like the ones that are out of your control a little bit,
and you're stretching for a bit. It's going to be them ones, and I think it's, well, for me at the minute it'll probably be more mental. Like the idea of, like I said, taking a goal kick now makes me feel sick because I can't walk. So I think it's going to take quite a few weeks of gently building it up, striking, to get that feeling back and that confidence back that I can actually take a goal kick again.
Right. Yeah, that's horrible. What's been your hobby then so far? It's only been 2 weeks since you've been injured, but go on. What have you been doing at home, sat on a sofa?
Netflix has been rinsed. Yeah, I've got bored of so many series now. And then I've got on the PS5, which, to be fair, since I've had the little man, I haven't really been on, and bought out Fallout 4 again. Watched the series on Amazon and thought, oh, that was a great game. Let's get back into it. So, yeah, I wouldn't like to see my play time on that much.
Needs must, mate. Like, we've all been there where you just have to find something that lets you release.
Well, that's what it is, because like I said to my missus, like, I feel awful because little man needs a bath, food needs cooking, but when you physically can't move and you can't even balance, you actually can't do anything.
You're actually more of a hindrance.
Yeah, she was
in the way.
Yeah, I was trying to make a coffee the other day and she was like, you're in my way now. I was like, all right, I'll go. And then just crawl back to my PS5 for a bit. But yeah, it's getting there slowly. Hopefully I can be back walking without aid in 2-3 weeks. So,
amazing. That's really quick. That's good then. Fingers crossed. Hopefully the specialist gives you some good news as well. Right, let's do some quick fire questions. See what you're like as a person. So, best favourite goalkeeper kit colour?
All black.
All black.
Yeah, all black. Yeah. Luckily, I think I've only had one. I think at Argyle we had one all black. That was lovely that year.
Any rascal ones you've had?
We had a purple one at Cambridge that was actually really nice. It was like a dark purple, but it was actually, I liked it. It looked horrific on the hanger, but when you actually wore it, you felt good in it.
Yeah,
so
nice.
I'd probably say that one.
Fair enough. All right, bit of a hard one, but play it short or kick it long?
After the other day, play it short.
Yeah, I think keep it short now. Just from a ball player.
Yeah, I think we go all Edison style and play out short.
Yeah, favourite box set?
Yellowstone.
Oh yeah.
Now, yeah. Watched that last few weeks. So Game of Thrones is top class, but yeah, Yellowstone's made me want to be a cowboy.
Yeah, you get on the horse.
Yeah.
Your favourite ever goalkeeper?
I'd say that's tough. Probably Neuer. Just from when I was growing, like the time that kind of I was growing up, he was just
changing the game.
Phenomenal, yeah. He was the first person to come running out of his box and pass it short, and you kind of look at him and go, "What are you doing?" But
flicking
then now,
it over someone's head.
It's kind of like that's a bit of the norm.
Yeah.
And I think people forget that he was the first person, kind of 10 years ago, doing it off his own back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say Neuer because I love watching him.
Who's the best goalkeeper in the world right now?
You'd probably go Courtois.
Yeah.
I think Edison's amazing for what he does.
Yeah.
Like he's suspect sometimes on goals he concedes, but what he can do with the ball is
Ridiculous.
phenomenal. Like
His passing range
you
is
just look at it, and I can't imagine there'll be many keepers with the amount of assists that he's ever had. Surely,
no, definitely not.
And I like the boy at AC Milan as well, Mannion.
Yeah,
he's really good.
Yeah, good
I've seen
keeper.
him a few times.
Save he made against Ireland.
Yeah.
Unreal.
And Martinez, actually.
Yeah.
I watched him the other day, and the save he made against for it, I was like, oh my god, that's one of the best I think I've seen like live.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it.
Talking of that, right? How does he manage to control the ball from behind him and still have the awareness to turn the wrong way?
Because I was watching it. I think I had my brother-in-law around, and like we were talking, and I kind of paused him. I was like, hang on a minute, because I had to re-watch it, because it was kind of like, it reminded me of the Bergkamp assist.
Yes.
When you watch it and you think, what way is he turned there?
Like, it doesn't look physically possible to manipulate yourself.
Seen it, and he's like clawed it and then kind of turned around. Like, I don't think I've seen a better save. Like, physically, to get the ball where he has and get his body out of the way.
Yeah.
I'd probably say it's one of the best I've seen.
It's unreal. Right, long sleeve goalie kits or short sleeve?
Long sleeve.
Yeah, you're an old school man.
Yeah, I love long sleeve. I had to go short sleeve at Argyle because Coops always wore short sleeve, and that's just the only kit they ordered.
So they just ordered it in.
So like we just went short sleeve, but yeah, when I had the chance to go long sleeve at Wrexham, I went straight away.
Yeah, nice.
It's just what I've grown up.
Yeah. It's a goalie kit.
Yeah, I've always grown up long sleeve, and I'd only wear an Under Armour anyway with my short sleeve. So it was only really when we were out in LA that I'd go short sleeve and get a bit of a tan.
But what's your coffee order?
Cortado.
Yeah, straight away.
Yeah, Piccolo or Cortado, but most of the time it's Cortado.
Yeah,
I think that's
we've got a massive coffee culture at Wrexham, haven't we?
I think when I signed the day before we went to LA, and I remember like waking up every morning, and there was probably 15, 20 of us wanting to go for a coffee.
Every morning in America, weren't it? It was
7 a.m. Everyone was jet lagged. We were all just sitting at a coffee shop for over just drinking coffee straight away, and it's every time, wasn't it?
It's ledge for us lot as players, because there's the social aspect. We probably get to know all the lads quicker, the ones that come for a coffee.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Yeah, because it's just pure time to sat down, enjoying each other's company, talking.
Yeah,
like it's the best, really.
Right, and a final one then. I always ask this one. It's the last minute of a game. You can save a penalty to win the game, or you can go up and score a goal.
Score a goal.
It's got to be, innit?
Yeah,
it has to be score a goal, isn't it?
You like to tick things off in your career.
Saving a penalty in the last minute is amazing.
Yeah, of course.
But you're not getting a statue.
You probably have more chances to do that, though, than actually score a goal. I think, it's got to be score a goal.
But if you scored a goal, you get a statue.
Yeah, I think I'd show my little man my goal more than I'd show him a last minute penalty.
That's the best way of putting it,
Up, so, yeah.
Right, let's go back to the start then. Right, why goalkeeping, Cal?
I just kind of fell into it. Like, it was kind of, I always remember, I think I was 8 or 9, my mum and dad said, look, we want you to go try some sports out, because I hadn't kind of found what I wanted, what I enjoyed playing, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So for my birthday, got me a pair of football boots. They went, go on, enjoy yourself. And I just loved it, loved playing, and kind of, there wasn't like a specific time where I said, oh, this is where I become a goalie. I just kind of gravitated towards it. I don't know if it's because I didn't like running. Could have been.
Yeah, possibly.
You haven't seen me run. You'd it's terrible.
Yeah, I actually didn't see him pre-season, man.
No, because I joined after that. So,
smart.
Dragged out the negotiations a bit longer, so I got past the running phase. But I just kind of fell into it, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Just kept going back every week. Playing with my friends, Sunday league, grassroots. And
is that where you started playing in goal as well?
Yeah.
So was you ever an outfielder?
Never.
No, you just went straight down.
Probably like 4 or 5 months.
Do you reckon that's like a playground thing where you was the one that went in goal, and it's a bit different as well? And if you didn't like the running,
yeah, probably. And it's just kind of, I don't think we had many takers in our age group at the time.
That's always the way.
And you get kind of not pushed in, but like, oh, I'll go in. And once you show a little bit of talent in the position, a coach straight away goes, oh, hang on.
Yeah. Because at such a young age, it's so niche, that one of the young ones doesn't want to be the striker and scoring goals and getting all the plaudits. It's obviously we're the complete opposite, and you get the comments and the hate and that. So for someone so young to be so brave to go, no, I'm a goalie, it's quite standout.
Yeah, no, because it doesn't really happen much nowadays. It's kind of, I hear now so many people like in academies, you see under 18s goalies, they only turn goalie at like 14. And I'm like, first of all, how are you that good? Because I wasn't even that good, and I tried to be a goalie like 5 years before that. And it just seems to be, I think because they're playing out now,
Yes.
kind of,
It's adapted the role,
yeah,
hasn't
it's
it?
adapted the role. So if you've got an outfielder that's passing range unbelievable and has got good reactions, you probably can coach the goalkeeping into him quite fast.
Yep.
Like Matt Turner, I think he was only like 16, wasn't he, or
there's
something.
so many keepers that I've spoke to are so late going in goal, but they just end up finding a love for it, or it's just like a new lease of life almost.
Yeah, no. Whereas I was the opposite. I was, I think, 8 and just kind of went head first into it.
Just fell in love with it.
We're thrilled to be working with Hotel Wrexham and the brand new Savvy Fox pub, who are proudly sponsoring this episode. Formerly known as Holt Lodge, the hotel has been completely transformed into something incredible. Whether you're looking for accommodation, planning an event, or just want to enjoy some great dining, Hotel Wrexham and the Savvy Fox have it all, no matter the occasion. If you haven't visited yet, take this as your sign to do so. For more details on how to book, please head over to www.hotelwrexham.com or to their Instagram, which is @hotel_Wrexham.
Obviously, so you'd have played like grassroots football, Sunday league with your mates and that. At what age did you think, I'm actually pretty good and I should start taking this seriously?
I got scouted. I went trials for Wolves and they said no. And then I got scouted for Shrewsbury and got signed up to there, I think, under 10s. So I was playing that, but even then, you don't think, even though you signed to a professional club, you're never thinking that. I think it was more when I got to under 14s, because there was a few lads in our age group that had gone into the youth team and were playing, given their scholars, and kind of, you were like, what's a scholarship? Like, what is this? And they were like, oh, well, it's, you play full time after you finish school.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, it was a bit like, wow, I want to do that.
I want a bit of that.
Yeah, it sounds brilliant. So it kind of twigged from that moment, like there's a end goal. It's not just coming, training 4 times a week and playing on a Sunday. There is actually a place where you can progress. So I'd probably say that was the first time I really realised that you could make a go of it.
Yeah, and then obviously you came through at Shrewsbury, our rivals at Wrexham. Obviously, the academy itself isn't so well known for producing hundreds and hundreds of players, but you ended up finding your route almost through the loan system.
Yeah. It was quite hard coming through. I think it's quite a tough club to come through because they have such a big turnover in management. If you're in one manager's kind of plans, I always remember when I signed to my pro, the manager who gave it me at the time was like, you'll be number 2 next year. This is what's going to happen if we get relegated. And we got relegated. And then new manager coming in the summer rang me up and went, you're going to be my number 3, I'm bringing 2 in. And I was like, hang on, how does that happen?
Yep.
That was my first kind of real experience of
eye-opening. This is men's football now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it doesn't matter what one person says, it's who's in charge.
Yeah.
And it meant I had to go and play non-league football and kind of come up through that system or get games through that system.
See, doing that though obviously makes you grow up a lot quicker. But every time you go back to Shrewsbury from each loan, do you have a point to prove?
I think so, yeah. That was my kind of, Shrewsbury was a real tough 3 years for me.
Yeah.
And I think it didn't progress me football-wise a lot, but mentally it did massively because of the loans. And kind of, I always got told by the goalie coach, you've got to go there and be the best goalie in the league. And you know how hard that is. Like, there's so many different circumstances that if you're in a rubbish team, you're not going to be the best goalie in the league because you're facing 50 shots a game. So that always, like, say, I went out and had plenty of bad loans as well.
Yep.
I probably had 2 good ones.
Yep.
And you'd come back and they'd kind of be like, well, you haven't impressed in that one. So it's either you go out again or you're not going to break in the team. And it kind of got stuck in that cycle, and I stick by it. Like, National League North is the hardest league I've ever played.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah. Oh, that's pitches. The players that you're playing with, the players that you're playing against, they've all got something different in their own lives going on or fighting against or whatever. But just the standard of football is a lot more basic, but a goalkeeper's involvement's way more.
Way more. Like,
you're not making 1 or 2 saves a game. You're making 5, 6, 7 saves a game.
Yeah.
You're coming for 5, 6, 7 crosses. So the chances of making mistakes are more.
Oh yeah, 1,000,000%. I mean, I went to same year I made my debut for Shrewsbury. It was the last game of the season. There was nothing to play for, so they went, go and play. I'd played National League the year before, National League North the year before, and like the goalie was under me was like, oh, what's it compared to, like, because he'd been doing the same route, he'd been going to kind of counties league, National League, and I went, League One's so much easier. I was like I didn't have like the best games in my first game, but I remember thinking like, all you do is kick it, like catch crosses and have shots to save. Whereas like there used to be games in National League North. I think we lost 6-1. I was at Telford, 6-1 to Brackley on a Tuesday night. Went down to 10. Like one of the lads lost his head in 10 minutes, kicked him down to 10 men. We just got battered, and you're dealing with through balls where like defenders. The worst one was when defenders would turn around and be like, "What are you doing?" And I'll be like, well, "That's not me." But because you're playing at that standard, it is.
You get sucked into it, don't you? You get sucked into it. You either are trying to do too much,
1,000,000%,
to allow for other people's mistakes, or you then go, "I'll just look after myself," and then you're not really doing your job to your best of your ability.
I got sucked into doing too much.
Yeah.
And there's so many, like, I look back to my clips when I was injured, actually, and just thought, let's have a laugh, let's have a look back to, and I was coming for crosses, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're not getting anywhere near them. And kind of that was the cycle I was in, because I was going out, trying my hardest to be the best goalie in the league and show that I could do it.
Yeah.
But by doing that, I was making so many errors and not playing well, and then coming back, and just that cycle just carried on going. Yeah. So I had to kind of break it at some point to kind of make a career.
Yep. And then obviously you then moved to Hull.
Yeah.
How did that all come about?
It was a weird one. So Paul Hurst come in December, I think, of my third year. So I still had 18 months left. And he said, look, you need to go and get games again and prove to me.
Yeah.
So that's when I went to Telford. And then kind of, I didn't have the best time, but I'd got the most amount of games that I'd played. And kind of, I was like, there's not really much more I can do in terms of
coming back to fight for a place at Shrewsbury.
I've proved that I can play the run of games. Yeah. Like, I feel like I should get a chance. I think I was 20 at the time. And he sat me down in the office, and I'd kind of prepared everything in my head to back like what he was saying, like, oh, I don't think you're good at this. And I was like, no, this is what thing. And he just sat me down and just said, you can leave. And I was like,
I weren't ready for that.
Yeah, that was the one thing I was not, because I had a year left.
Yep.
I was just like, what do I say?
Yeah.
And it threw me. And I remember that summer, I was like, even though I had a year left, like if that was kind of now, I'd be so much more chilled. And you know, like what the game's like, and the summer will come round. But that whole summer, I was just in my house stressing.
Yep.
And I was a nightmare. Like my missus will say the same. I was terrible.
It's amazing, even you got the comfort blanket of the year, but when someone curveballs you like that, froze you, doesn't it?
Yeah, because just I was not expecting it at all. So kind of I come back to that pre-season, and it was kind of hard because there was a group of us that had been told we could leave. So like I kind of got put into that group. So I wasn't taking pre-season tour, was wearing trialist kit, was wearing a squad number got took off me and all that. I was only 20, first time I'd experienced any of this. It hadn't happened while I was at the club. And I was just like in disbelief. I was like, what have I done so wrong?
Yeah.
It's like, I've gone out, tried to prove myself, done this, done that. And I was just like, I can't stay here. So I got a trial at Hull, basically, to come up for the day. They needed a 23s goalie. And I went up, and they said, yeah, look, we'll have you. And I was like, yeah, perfect, let's sort it out. But they were offering me same money and my 1 year, and like to move up to Hull. And I would have been in negative.
Yeah, because you
have rented a place.
Find a place,
yeah. And I said, look, I can't do it. And like I got quite a bit of backlash when I went back to Shrewsbury from the staff saying, what are you doing? Like, you've been offered this way out. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it to just get me out the building. Like, it's got to be right.
Yeah.
And then I waited. They wouldn't let me train. So I was just sat in the gym every day. And it kind of soured the 3 years that I'd had there and all memories of it. And then I think David Marshall got injured. Marshy got injured in the pre-season.
Yep.
So Hull rang up and said, look, we can
we
can figure details out. And it kind of happened from there.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. And then obviously from there you had a couple of more loans doing really well at Chesterfield, which got you your move almost to Cambridge.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the Cambridge year, because obviously the promotion year that you end up playing a lot of games, well, from the Christmas period onward, didn't you? But there was obviously the COVID time as well.
Yeah.
So having no fans while you're getting promoted must have been obviously the promotion's amazing, but
it was
to do it with
yeah.
fans is totally different.
Yeah, it was my first experience of a promotion, and it was a bit underwhelming, to be fair, because like you said, you were playing league, we played against each other that year. Like, the stadium was dead. When you won, there was no cheers at the end. There was no like, it was just flat.
Just empty, innit?
Yeah, and I remember winning, like we secured promotion last day. So usually like the best way to do it, you're automatic, you're up. And there was no fans cheering. There was no, like, we lifted the trophy in front of an empty stadium. We were all having beers just like in the clubhouse, and it was good because it was just the lads.
Yeah,
so
it
that
made
was
it
a
more
good
about
bit,
you.
Yeah. But like, you couldn't go into town after because obviously nowhere was open. You couldn't. And I remember the day after, like, usually you stay on it for a few days, don't you? The day after, we were sat in the park in the middle of Cambridge. There was just loads of tourists around. We were just having beers, and we were a bit like, it's a tad bit underwhelming.
Yeah, very underwhelming.
We couldn't go away on holiday. We couldn't do all this kind of stuff. So it was amazing, and it was the best kind of, at that point, best point of my career. But looking back at it, I'd have loved to have done it.
Yeah,
normal
fans,
times.
Yeah,
1,000,000%. Yeah.
See, obviously, I wanted to ask about when you get promoted like that and you've played. That's probably the first moment that you've went, I've established myself.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
Yeah, because before that, I've done it myself my whole career. You know, when you're like, when you haven't actually gone on to achieve something, or you haven't played 46 games in a season, you still feel like you're going to be the guy that gets told the next year, you'll be our number 2, but you'll get back in the team.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that was kind of, I was up in that summer.
Yep.
And I remember thinking, like, this is a real good opportunity for me to earn a deal for next year. Like, because we were up there all year, I thought it's going to be a League One club. If I do really well now,
I'll get something.
I'll get something. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it was a good end to the year. I think I got 28 games that year.
Yep.
And we went up second. Yeah, Cheltenham won the league.
Cheltenham
we
won the
went
league,
second. And yeah, it was kind of the first moment I was like, right, it sounds stupid, but like, people have got clips to watch you, because you can train every day, but no one sees. You could be the best trainer in the world
until you've played a game.
Another manager isn't going to look at that.
No.
Like, whereas when they're seeing you make saves every week,
Yep.
or penalty saves, or coming for crosses, like in games, that's when a manager looks like, oh yeah, he's a bit of me. Like, that's what.
And then when you have a promotion on your CV as well, it holds more weight for any other club signing you, because they know you've got the experience, you've been through it.
Yeah, and that was the biggest thing when I spoke to Argyle. They were like, well, he's got them promoted. Like, they'd been promoted the year before.
Yep.
And they were like, well, that's the kind of, would have took you a year ago if you'd have been in that promotion class with us. So there's no difference to us.
Yeah. So obviously the move to Argyle then happened that summer then.
Yeah.
Was you, again, going there to compete? Was it an opportunity to just further your career? Yeah,
I think the one thing I've always been careful with my moves is that you can chase games in terms of going somewhere that someone says, look, you're definitely going to play, and that's brilliant. But also, it very rarely happens that you climb the ladder and do that.
Yep.
Because it's usually teams below where you've been that go, yeah, you're going to be my number one.
Drop down to us, play for us.
Exactly. And kind of, I've always been careful not to jump at their moments, because you could be 1 or 2 bad years off being all of a sudden 2-3 leagues below.
Yep.
So I remember that summer, after you'd left, I could have gone Scunthorpe.
Yep.
And then I look back at how the different 2 years had gone. And like, in that 2 years, Argyle got promoted and I played, and Scunny were down in National League North.
Yeah, so
it's that
huge contrast.
And that's what I mean. Like,
if you're on the wrong side of that.
Exactly. And that's kind of where I sit down and I like to think through kind of the options I've got, because I got laid out the situation at Argyle that Coops was the number 1 and he was brilliant and he deserved to be. But I was going there to push him on, and if he was to ever move on, you're ready-made to go into the number 1 slot. And that was kind of how it got sold to me, and it kind of excited me, because it's a bigger club than a lot of people realise. Until you move down there and you play for them, you don't realise how big a club it was. And I didn't until I signed, but it was definitely the right decision at that point in my career for me.
Yeah, you mentioned Coops briefly then. How good is he?
Fantastic, mate.
Yeah. He's obviously at Sheffield United now, doing really well.
Yeah. He's one of the ones where kind of I've gone in kind of first days with different goalies, and obviously you hear things, and I've gone in sometimes with goalies before and they've been like, yeah, he's the next best thing, and you look at them, well,
not sure.
But like, from day one when I saw Coops, he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, his hand, I've never seen someone with so clean hands, just everything, catch, like, ones that, like, you know, in a game where you'd parry it, just catch it. And that was the biggest thing for me. Like, he'd never give corners away, because he just, them ones where a little bit of extension, which you just kind of parry away, he'd catch, he'd be up, he'd side volley it out. And just, I remember watching him thinking, like, I think he was 22 at the time when I joined. I was like, yeah, he's going to go far. Yeah, he's going to go far. Yeah. And because he was so young, I think when I joined, he played 50 games, and you could tell already how that maturity of decision making and everything. And he got Golden Glove two seasons about.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So obviously from Plymouth, you've joined Wrexham. We're going to talk a little bit about Wrexham in a minute, but I want to do a little bit more on obviously the trying to establish yourself and being patient we've both done this. You have to be patient as a number 2.
Yeah.
And it's so hard because you get brought in to most clubs now and it's your one of 2. Yeah. And if you're on the wrong side, as we were saying about like the decision, I feel really bad for you, especially this year, because you've been so patient. You've been unbelievable in training. And then obviously your injury happens once you get your opportunity. And these are the fine lines in football.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, so just about how hard it is being patient, but also being a great professional and being good for the other person that's playing.
Yeah, I think it's something you learn through doing the role. I mean, I've been at clubs where the 2s have been a nightmare, especially when I was growing up. And like, I was a 3 and I used to look up at them and like, I'd think, like, what are you doing, mate? Like, you're not even making it enjoyable for me, like training. And kind of, I never really wanted to be that. So that, like, even when I was in the youth team, I'd look up and be like, why are you making it hard? Like, because obviously we're such a close.
Well, we work for an hour, 90 minutes on our own as a 4 or 5.
Exactly. So imagine if that was 90 minutes of just hell every day. Like, I couldn't imagine anything worse. So it's hard to keep patient, because ultimately, like, you want to play. But for me, like, when Arthur was playing, Arthur wants to play. It's not Arthur's fault if the manager says, look, I'm like Arthur to play more than you, or vice versa. So there's no point me not
having a gripe with him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's not. And it was the same with Coops. Like, Coops was playing week in, week out. He's playing really well. I'd never look at him and go, and try and like ruin his training or anything like that, because the only way he's going to be better, and if I'm going to develop, because I'm not playing, so I need training more than anyone, is if training's a good standard and is like a good atmosphere, probably more than anything. Because that's how you get better and you enjoy it. So it is hard, because obviously you always want to play. And I've been lucky. This is my first injury in my career, so I've had 10 years now of being injury free. But it's about waiting for your opportunity, and I've had 2 opportunities so far in my career. Cambridge, come in, played, got promoted, and Argyle the same. And obviously this one I wanted to kind of do more, but it's the cruelty of the game. But it's all about the union, isn't it? That's why it's a thing. Like, you've got to back each other.
Right. So I've read that you're a huge fan of German football when you're growing up, especially Oliver Kahn, Manuel Neuer, Ter Stegen. Do you find that you've got influences in your game that you've taken from them?
I feel like I try to take the boldness of them into the games. I think when you look at especially Neuer and Kahn, like, they just come for things and you'd think, like, what are we doing? But they just come and catch it, and then they'd be out like it was their bread and butter. So like, I like to try and do that, especially with crossing. Like, try and come for things, because even if you've got another 2-3 foot on any other player with your arm, so a punch, a catch, anything that you can try and help. Just help. Because if a defender was in there and headed a ball clear that you will punch the same, you'd be like, what header that is. So I don't see it being any different being a goalie. So I'd say that's the biggest thing that I try to bring into my game.
It's just the mentality of that.
It's the boldness. And the best I saw at it growing up was Dean Henderson as well. When he was at Shrewsbury, he joined Shrewsbury the year I left. Obviously, I'd still watched them. He'd come for everything. And he was phenomenal at it. Like, he'd kind of run into it before the minute the taker's head went down, he'd start going forward.
Be on the way already.
So he'd made his mind up already. He'd just come, catch it, and he'd be away.
That's a skill though, reading the game that well.
And that's why he's gone to the very top, like, because you could just tell anything on the edge of his box was just coming and taking. And I was like, how's he getting it right that much? But then, like, when you'd break it down, you'd see minute head down, already do like 3 steps into it.
Yeah.
And then at worst, if it was nowhere near him, just go, oh, away and back off. But like I try to do, I don't know if I'm bold enough to do 3 steps, but I'll do a step.
But even so, obviously the game that you came off in, the Barnsley game, you came for one from their goalkeeper.
Yeah, drilled it.
He drilled one to the edge of the box, and you came for it. So in the second half, their goalie had the same free kick. And I remember thinking, oh, Cal took a bold line.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's drilled it to the edge of the box, and I've come and plucked it. And I was like, I wonder if I'd have took that without knowing already.
It's mentality.
Yeah, it's a mentality.
Million percent. Like you could approach some situations being like, I'm not going to come for this, and just back off every time.
Yeah.
They'd deal with it 90%. But like I remember, like I've got a lot of friends in the game, and they were like, there's nothing better than a goalie coming, keepers, and they can just duck out of it and get caught. And it's true. Like, so I try to do it as much as I can, but it's definitely something that's took years to have the bravery to do it, because it is having the boldness, like you said.
All right, goalies, let's dive into a session with the Keeper in Motion app, your new teammate for data-driven training. The Keeper in Motion app is your tool for parents, coaches and goalies alike that want more data on their training sessions and matches. It can give you feedback on your 1v1s, your crosses, your kicking, your distribution and even your cross-taking. It's all there at the touch of a button. Now you know what the app is, it's time to show you how it works. I'm going to start with a couple of dives to the left, a couple dives to the right and a couple of crosses. Let's show you how it works. Right, let's kick this off with a dive to the left. My goalie coach has inputted that I've made a good decisive save to my left-hand side with a positive outcome. Now it's time to show you a 1v1. Here's my coach typing in again that I was decisive in a 1v1. Right, time to show you a cross. Yours, mine, away! Right, as you can see, dealing with crosses, I've got a thumbs up from my coach, but I wasn't decisive because I chose to punch the ball instead of catching it. Let's show you distribution and kicking. Over to my coach now, see what he says. So he's giving me a thumbs down because I've kicked the ball out of play, but other, it's maybe because I was under pressure from the striker. You can add voice notes to each save or slip up. Let's hear what my coach has to say.
Keep it in play, Mark.
Right, that's training wrapped up. Time to look at the data. After every training session and game, it's great to look through the data and see how I perform. Now, let's have a deep dive at the data. As you can see from the data today, it looks like I did really well and decisive decisions on my shot stopping and 1v1. In possession, my distribution was a bit poor today and I didn't keep the ball in play enough. Definitely room to work on. On the app, there is a comparison feature to find out how you're doing against goalkeepers of your level. And for those looking to level up, there will be a pro version coming to the UK soon with added insights and features which will be available for all scouts to have a look at. Keeper in Motion, your all-in-one app for keepers, coaches and parents. Download it now to make every save count. Click the link in the description below for your exclusive discount.
Right, and then, one more thing. You've got this reputation for saving penalties. How's this all come about?
I think it's because I've played so many Papa John's games, virtual, whatever it's called now, that because there's a shootout now, isn't there, after every draw? I've probably done about 12, 13 shootouts in my career.
Yeah.
So just
that's a lot.
Volume of penalties.
Yeah.
And like I quite like breaking it down and looking at where takers go, patterns and kind of all that, because I think it's a skill saving them, but I'd say you give yourself 75% of it is the research you do, 1,000,000%, because you can go into a game like I actually looked, obviously Cambridge scored one the other day.
Yes.
He'd gone every single pen that way and then he magically decided to change.
Yeah.
Like you can't do anything about that, but a lot of the times they just
there's a pattern.
They stick to their way.
An arm throw, foot placement,
100%.
A run up that changes.
Even like times the games, like there's people before that I've seen stand on. I always remember Bryce Samba in the playoffs, and I can't remember what it might have been Villa they were playing or someone they were playing, and he stood middle and saved on his forearm against the bar. And it's probably because he's looked like it takes a lot of balls to stand as a goalie in a shootout, especially a playoff game. Yeah. And he's obviously seen that and gone, if he gets a bit nervous or it's a big pen, it'll go middle.
Yeah.
And they're the kind of things that they can win you promotion.
I was the same for the Cambridge one. Obviously, I'd done my research, watched all the penalties, and then afterwards I said to him, what's that about? And he goes, all week I've been practicing this stuttered run up.
What I mean.
I was like, so you can't legislate for some of
exactly. You
and
can't.
it just said me.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because I was watching it and I seen seen you go and put it the other way, and I thought, I'll have a look at its pens.
Yeah.
I was on, and he took like 5 all
Five
going that
to my
way.
left. I was definitely going left.
Yeah, and I was thinking, you can't actually do anything there, because if you dive the other way and you save, but if you dive the other way and he went to your left again, you'd be like,
the video analysis would be killing.
Yeah,
you.
exactly. Gaff
Yeah.
would be like, where's he gone?
Yeah.
And he'd be battering you straight.
Yeah.
So there's nothing you can do.
Can't win sometimes.
No, exactly.
A little bit on gloves. What gloves do you wear?
Precision.
You're in precisions.
Yeah.
What size are you first, Cal?
10.
You're a 10, yeah. It's
Yeah.
pretty standard goalie size,
Yeah,
isn't
I
it?
think 9.5, 10's the go-to for a lot.
Yeah. And how long have you been with Precision there?
Been with them probably 6 years, I think. I think
Yeah.
it was the season I joined Cambridge.
Yeah.
I moved over to them from Royce, and I can't fault them, to be fair.
Yeah. But you're like me, you don't change your gloves a lot either.
No, they've that's the one thing I said to them. I said, like, if you bring out a good glove,
I'll stick with that.
yeah, 1,000,000%. And even if you get kind of newer gloves over it. So this is one they've done this year that's it's a new colourway that they've done for me, but it's the palm that they've been doing for years now.
And they can just change the back.
Exactly, yeah, to
basically,
make it look like the newer brand. Yeah.
Right, I want to talk about one thing with your gloves. You
Yeah.
put them in the washing machine, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know I got that off as well?
Who?
Hoops.
Really?
Yeah. So I never used to do that at all.
Yeah.
And then I'd be there like washing them in the shower doing that. Coops like, just stick them in the washing machine. And I was like, that'll kill them. And to be fair, it didn't.
Yeah.
Like I was still getting the same amount of time out of them. And I think he'd had a word with the kit man as well and said, like, don't use soap on them, just put them in a water, like
a water
wash. And yeah, I think I just got lazy.
Yeah, it's lazy.
Just,
that,
just in the
mate, every time you throw them in, I look at them in the basket and I'm like, that can't happen. That. Let's do a little bit before we finish about Wrexham then. So, how did the move come about?
Come about quite late, to be fair. It was quite a late move in summer, like a lot of moving parts, but not much happened until kind of pre-season started, which stressed me out a bit because I'd like to have mine kind of sorted for day one. But no, the gaffer just rang me and kind of said, like, what are you doing at the minute? Where are you at? And he kind of just sold it to me. Like, obviously you hear a lot of outside noise from the club, but he was kind of telling us what the football department's focused on doing this year and where they're looking to improve, etc. And it sounded, obviously you've worked with the gaffer loads, like it just sounded like a normal football person speaking about what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And I found that quite refreshing because a lot of managers I spoke to, especially that summer, you could tell they have a different agenda, or that they weren't being fully straight with you. What they were offering wasn't what they were doing. And just with the gaffer, it was just, right, we want you a couple of days later, contract through. And I think it all got wrapped up within kind of 7 days, which was nice and fast, which I wanted to, because I wanted to get on that plane.
Yeah, just make sure you're in
Plane
America.
to LA,
mate.
yeah, definitely.
That's the thing about the club. Obviously, there's so many good moving parts that go with it and that, but in the background, we all just want to play football and do well.
Yeah, and
I think
that's all we want.
But that's what the gaffer is signing anyway. Wants honest people that want to go and win games and do well for a team.
Yeah.
But then you do get like the nice bits.
Yeah, that's what kind of like, that's the kind of bit that's still surprising me daily, is just we'll come in and a new sponsor will have just given us a bit of kit. And I'm just like, this is kind of mental. Like no other, like probably Premier League clubs aren't getting some of the bits that we get given. Just
but even as a player, you're not injured, but you're able to go, I want this surgeon. I want to,
1,000,000%,
and as a player, it's amazingly important, your own health and well-being, that you can be able to be in control as well.
Well, yeah, because Kev, obviously the medical team have been brilliant with me since the injury, but I had surgery 6 days after, and kind of to get a world-class surgeon 6 days after the injury, I was thinking, how have they managed to turn this around? But it's because of the one thing I can say the club's done brilliantly on is putting the right people in the right places. And that's because you can throw money at a football club at anything, and you've seen it go wrong numerous times, but they've thrown their money at the right people in the right positions, and that's why the club's done so well the last 2 years. It's no like miracle. It's been good decision over and over again.
Right, let's talk a little bit about the goalie unit. What's your thoughts on Arthur?
I think Arthur's brilliant. I've never met a guy so laid back in my life, but it works for him so well. Like he comes out for warm-ups, just goes through his normal warm-up, and just performs.
Yeah.
Like,
He's the last one out to training every day.
Yeah,
Like last to put his boots on, his
he's
gloves
kind of
on,
one,
just
yeah.
strolls over.
Like
and he's unreal.
15 years ago, everyone would be like, oh, I'm not having him because he's last out, he's all that. But yeah, I've not seen him have a bad session yet.
No.
Or a bad game.
Yeah.
Like
He's just got so many attributes to go
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. That's the kind of thing. Like when you see someone who's got 6'6" and good with the feet, good shot stopper, you're just saying, well, it's a matter of time.
Yeah.
Like, and that was like I was with Coops, it was the exact same. And he's he's been brilliant. And the best bit is he's such a nice guy.
He is just a nice
Yeah, that's what I mean. You can't not like him.
Yeah.
He smiles all the time.
Yeah.
And he just enjoys life.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. You don't have to be too bloated. Me?
No, I've obviously I've played against you for many years.
Yeah.
Like when you were at Scunny, Bolton, I always remember playing against you and kind of coming in. I didn't know what to expect because obviously all the pros, you never know what way they're going to be. But I couldn't believe the intensity you trained at from like day one. Obviously, I was you were 2 weeks ahead of me anyway. But I remember first session thinking, oh my God.
Still goes at it.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near these two. And like you were flying around, catching everything. And it was kind of refreshing to see because I know I've heard a lot about, like I worked with Luke McCormack at Plymouth. He was brilliant, just like you, trained properly, did everything he could. But I've heard so much about old pros just kind of nicking your ears and trying to stay in the game. So like when I come here, I seen you at it, Arthur at it, obviously Liam at it, the young lad. I was like, it's a good group. This like, gonna have to.
There's even between us all, there's such an odd group of goalkeepers because if you stood us all next to each other and all hit the same shot at us, we'd all save it completely different.
Yeah,
and all of our techniques, none of ours match each other.
No,
like, everyone's so unorthodox compared to each other, and I think that's almost what makes it brilliant because if someone does something, there's 3 different opinions every time.
I think that helps so much.
Robots. It's not like, oh, I do this and we do this. And
we've had different opinions. Like my goals have gone in this season, and we've kind of all been stood there like, well, have you tried this? Because I'd have done that, and then you turn around and went, well, yeah, but if you could do this as well, that could help. And then Arthur's like, oh yeah, I haven't thought about that.
Yeah.
It's good having that because you'd rather someone tell you for a start, because I've been part of groups as well before where it's like, I think I could have done better there. And then we're like, no, you've done everything right.
They just leave you alone.
Yeah, and just don't say a word. Whereas when you can have an honest conversation between the 4 of you and just say, I'd have probably done that. You could try that if you wanted to. And no one takes it.
It's not personal.
No one takes it offensively. No one takes it as kind of someone having a dig like, oh yeah, you should have done better.
Yeah.
And I think it's helped because there's certain ones where Arthur's come out of it and been like, well, yeah, I did that and it was better. I felt way better. Yeah. And just like, I think we're good at picking up little, 1,000,000%. And I think you've got to, because like I had a moment in my career when I was at Cambridge. Mark Bunn was my goalie coach, and I was still half in the come out and try and make a difference. Yeah. And he just said, just stay deep and save everything.
Yeah, do your job.
Yeah, he just says, just try staying deep for a game. And I did it. I had a really good game. And then from there, like with shots and stuff, I just stay deep. Yeah. Because I think it gives you so much more time. Yeah. Whereas Arthur's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Arthur sprints down the line the ball and things just hit it.
Yeah.
It's like watching Fraser Forster. It's the exact same.
It's the athleticism aspect, but it's also the size. You just can't beat him.
No. I watched him first shooting session. I was like, how is he saving all these? Like, I could never do that.
And he's not done a shooting session since. It's so funny. We do shooting sessions and he just don't take part in it. You have to like force him into it,
and he just starts walking.
Yeah. Me and you will stand in there for hours, and he'll walk past us and smile as if to say, idiots.
And just nod,
Right, Liam Hall, SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Should we address why we call him SpongeBob?
I mean, you can do, yeah.
Obviously, Aidan, our goalie coach, always gets onto Liam because he's so square, basically. His shoulders are...
Just stands there square all the time, doesn't he? And just got a square body.
Yeah, Liam's been training really well the last few weeks. I think since you've not been about.
It took me to get blooming stretching off into.
Yeah,
nah, I think Liam's he's good, and I think it's underrated how important the young goalie of a group is. Yeah, because it's the learning kind of phase of his career. Yep, and the learning phase of anyone's career, like that first 2-3 years, like mine at Shrewsbury. Yep. So like, there's going to be days where you don't say the thing because you're an up and coming goalie that isn't at the kind of experienced pro level. Like you've got how many years on him?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah,
that's what I mean of shots. That's
Yeah.
what I mean of
The amount
100
of
shots
shots
a
that I've
day.
saved over my career
Exactly.
compared to him, and there's some stuff that he does, and you think, "Wow, come on, Liam, that's you then." And then the next day, it could just be that he's not slept as well, so his coordination could be off. And then some days, like we're on him, going, "Come on, you can do it," and he gets really frustrated with himself.
But that's kind of where I try and do it as much in, like, since I've been a 2, try and do it as much as, because when I was a 3, sometimes the 2s would never let me do stuff.
Yep.
Because they wanted to do the shooting, the patterns of play, the crossing, because they weren't getting obviously the match minutes. They wanted to, and I was kind of there like, come on, I need to do something. So that's why I try and involve Liam and any like kind of 3 or younger lad that I've worked with.
Yeah, get them involved.
Yeah, because that's their learning time.
Yeah.
Because they won't always be in the small siders, because obviously there's so many seniors.
Yep.
They need that shot stopping and just getting battered, because that's what
It's the grounding.
Yeah,
of
it's
it
how
all
you
as well.
learn. Like it's how you learn.
Finally, Aidan Davison.
He's one of the funniest men I've met in football. Like
So
he's
funny.
just obviously some of the things he comes out with, you're just like, where. And all the team are like it though. Like the team first
He had
day.
a sticky first week where he tried to put a bit of authority on the
Did
squad,
he?
and then after that he just became unbelievable. He's like, obviously he's shout of logistics, and it's a nightmare.
I remember like turning up to, I can't remember, it was a hotel in London recently before obviously Adam come and play liaison, and there was no, like, we didn't know where reception was, we didn't know where the things were.
We were getting
Yeah, lads in the lift going up and down, and we're like, hey, what's going on here? And he's like, don't know,
logistics,
lads. Don't know, I'm the goalie coach. This isn't me. And then he finds it, but like, yeah, he's brilliant. Like on a day where you might be having a little flat day, he'll raise spirit.
Finally, I want to talk about our 2-touch games. They've escalated a lot.
Yeah.
So obviously we play 2-touch every day before training, and they went from being cat, dog, cow, you lose 3 lives.
Little impression.
Yeah, little impression, but they've really escalated of late.
Yeah.
So
they've got
I'm quite creative with them.
very creative. Yeah. Some of the ones that I really like.
Yeah, so I invented the dog with worms.
Yeah.
Who did was you Penguin Slide?
I don't know. It's SpongeBob's. It's one of his favourites.
Yeah.
But I end up doing it.
We do so many stupid like forfeits.
I remember my first day, and I was like, I'm not sure about this, but I love it now.
How good's it now?
Oh yeah, like this. It makes me want to stitch people just to see them do the most mental impressions. Ever.
So obviously we've got Brad Foster tonight, and he is getting stitched every day.
Oh yeah.
The other day he lost 7 out of 8 just because we wanted to see him do a gymnast.
He's got to catch up.
Yeah, he was literally playing. Oh, it's so funny.
And A doesn't have any prisoners. He's a one man you don't want to pick on, because
and you can't stand next to him in 2
No,
sets.
yeah, because he just stitches you, and I learned that really. You've got to stitch him first, or you're just getting it. Yeah. And I think Brad hasn't learned that yet.
No, not at all. Oh, it's class. Right, final question. I always ask this, but what does the Goalkeepers Union mean to you?
Yeah, I think it's your family within a football club. I think it's the group that you spend the most time with, the group that you probably get the best bond with. And it's what makes your day enjoyable at the end of the day. So it's kind of like family away from family.
I like that shout. Mate, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Fingers crossed the rehab goes really well.
Yeah.
Specialist goes well as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
See you hobbling about the training ground again.
I'll be around the next few days.
Yeah, nice. What a great episode it's been, everyone. Callum Burton, thank you very much, mate.
Cheers, mate.
As I said, this has been the Yours Mine Away podcast. Thank you very much for listening. I'm Mark Howard. Take care, guys.
What a save from Mark Howard.